can remember one specific piece. It truly wasn't that long ago. It was while I was in college that I saw it, but it's called Betroffenheit, and I saw it at the theater at U of M, and it had Kid Pivot and was a collaboration with a theater company that I can't remember at the moment, but I remember after seeing it being completely like in awe, in shock. Like I felt emotional. I didn't know if I wanted to cry. I didn't know, like I felt excited after seeing the movement, and it was one of the first times I remember like really feeling like that. I felt so deeply moved that I went home and I was like, I need to take notes about this performance. It made me super excited, and after that became one of those works that I feel like really influenced my choreographic style, some of my dancing style after seeing that, and I was like, I love this company. I want to follow like Crystal Pite's choreography as well. It was her setting a piece on this company, and it just made me super excited, and kind of like I had an artistic revival where I was just really inspired. And so I think it's really important to always be immersing yourself in new performances and watching as much art as you can, because that's what inspires us and helps us continue to grow as artists, is just seeing what other people do. And it helps you remember that what you do is really important. You can move someone to tears, to hysterical laughter, to any of this with your art and with your body, with your voice, if you're in theater, anything like that. So it helps us remember how important our role really is in society.
For me, I think this really goes hand in hand with the first time that I realized I really, really love doing theater, and that I might want to do this as a career. My sophomore year in high school, we were doing a show, Arsenic and Old Lace, and it was a movie in the 40s, which I had already seen and I loved. So I was really excited to be doing the show, and I got assigned props designer, which was a huge deal for me. This was the first design work I had done in a show. I had done run crew before, but this was the first time I was really involved from day one and making design choices, which was really exciting. So I felt just so much more emotionally connected to the show and felt like I really had a hand in creating it, which was really exciting for me. And there was a moment on opening night where I was backstage and just seeing the set with the actors and watching the show from the wings and hearing the laughter of the audience, and seeing there's a lot of like physical comedy type stuff in the show, and seeing all of that work out, and seeing the world that I had helped create, and hearing it bring joy to this audience. It just really was a moment where I realized, like, wow, I really love this, and maybe I could do this as a career. Like, I remember thinking in that moment, like, I wonder if there's a way that I could do this, because I would be totally thrilled to be able to do something like this and continue to have this feeling, as for the rest of my life. And working in theater can be very stressful. There's really strict timelines and there's a lot of decisions. But when I get really overwhelmed, I try to just go back to that moment and remember just like why I'm doing this and why I decided to do this in the first place. And that moment for me really, really changed my life.
I would have to say one of the earliest was this movie that I watched when I was younger called The Imitation of Life. This was the 1959 version. It was one of my mom's old movies. She had it on tape on VHS, and I remember her showing us this movie growing up. I was really drawn to the plot and the leading characters. Most of them were women, for one. And I don't know, I guess it was just the old style of acting. I know it looks a little dramatic now as an actor looking back at old movies and the way that they act, but I was really drawn to the way that they were able to tell a story. To me, it was so believable growing up because it never seemed like a movie. It always seemed like someone was sneaking and recording these random people back in the day. That's how believable the acting was to me. But if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch that movie. It was I don't know, I remember crying, especially towards the end, like being a young kid. It means so much more now, but looking at it then, I was so touched by all the way everything came together. Mahalia Jackson was in this movie as well. Such a beautiful voice. Yeah, that was definitely one of the first that I remember.
That I remember that was kind of a pivotal point in my life in deciding that I wanted to pursue this in higher education. And that experience was working on a show called Gypsy as a musical at my hometown professional theater called the Colorado Springs Fine Arts Center. This was sort of the first paid theater gig that I ever had. What I remember about that is there was like a cast of 16-year-olds, like me and a couple of other people, but we were working with like 30, 40-year-old, working professionals. And it was so strange to me at the time to be acting with like real adults and having this person portray my mom, and she like could be old enough to be my mom. And so that experience was just sort of like, oh, like this is a whole world that exists outside of education, outside of children kind of playing pretend. This whole world exists and you can participate in it. And I think that was a really pivotal role to realize, like, oh, this can be pursued and this is something that can be done throughout your life. And I want to do that. So that was sort of the experience I had that changed me and wanted me to pursue this for a while.
Yeah, the first time it really moved me emotionally was I believe it was my senior year of high school, and I went to the 313 show at the music hall. And overall the show was fantastic and really already started to open my eyes to a world that I didn't know was possible. But it was the piece that Eisenhower did that was choreographed by Rhonda Jesus that really affected me, and I still remember to this day. But it was more on a level it was filled with like excitement and emotion of, wow, I'm about to be a part of this world that I didn't even know was possible, that could affect people in this way. Like, I'm watching these beautiful movers that, like, yeah, I grew up doing competition dance, I've seen beautiful work, but it was more on a shallow level, which I hate saying, but like it wasn't as deep as some of the more concert kind of dance. And not that there's anything wrong with that kind of style, but it didn't affect me. I was like, oh yeah, no, I like this, I have fun with this, I'm good at this, like maybe I can have a career out of this. But it was never something that I felt like really moved me or affected me so deeply. So that was the first time where I was just like, this can do that to you. And I was so excited. I'm like, I think I already knew I was coming to Wayne State or something, but I was like excited that I could do this for someone in the future. But the second one, where the art form really affected me because of like the art itself, not that the first one didn't, but like the act of it, like doing it, was my junior year of college. I was at an audition, and it was during like a Gaga class, and I was following the instructions, and it was like not even like I wasn't nervous because it wasn't an audition, it was just a class. And I was moving around, and all of a sudden I just felt overjoyed with love for dance. I felt like I was falling back in love with dance, which I didn't even know that I was out of love. But like, I feel like with anything, you go in waves and you may not even realize it. But I was just like, I fell back in love so hard. I like started tearing up, and I was like, I'm a part of this amazing world with these beautiful people, and that affects people in a way. And so it was just like, no matter what, at least I have this kind of love, or I have this ability to move this way and be moved. And just that experience will forever be a part of my memory that I will never forget.